Yeah, and I guess I would come at this question maybe from the opposite end, because you asked first about the corporations. I mean, I can talk about Amendment 1 and why I think it's a good idea, but I first want to address this idea when they say it's just for corporations to hide behind, because this has become now the cry for certain groups that are being funded by the Humane Society of the United States to say this is somehow about corporations. And I think this is a misconception they've been able to sell to suburban and urban voters for a long time, and in Missouri at least, it's just nonsense. In Missouri, to start with, I mean, their premise is that somehow this is only going to benefit corporate farming, whatever that means. And I'm not exactly even sure what that means, because in Missouri, it's illegal in most circumstances, except under very narrow exceptions, for a corporation of non-related people, so non-family, to be involved in farming. The law says you cannot, as a corporation, be engaged in the act of farming as a corporation unless you're set up as a family farm corporation or authorized farm corporation. Those two forms of corporation require either that you're all very close blood relatives, or there is an exception where they're allowed. You know, if you're a majority owner and you actually live on the farm and work there, you can have some other partners involved. But it doesn't. I think they want to sell to people the idea that this is, you know, the Fortune 500 companies are somehow involved in farming and doing the actual farming work in Missouri. And outside, again, of very narrow exceptions, the most prominent of which is some of the hog farming in northern Missouri, that's just not the case. Now, let me talk about that, because there is an exception in our corporate farming law that allows corporations to raise hogs in a handful of counties up on the Iowa line in northern Missouri. That was controversial when it was put in the 90s. It still remains a sticking point for some people. And I understand, you know, that debate that goes back and forth on that issue. That was a heavily depressed area economically, and for a lot of people it was just seen as a benefit to be able to get jobs into that area. But whatever you think about that question, whether you're for or against that in that area, the vast majority of Missouri, every other county in Missouri, it's illegal to be engaged in farming, the actual act of farming, as a corporation. So this whole idea that somehow corporations are out there running around farming in Missouri now is false, and the idea that they will be after this amendment is false. This amendment does not say, Amendment 1, doesn't say anything about who may organize into a corporate form to farm. It doesn't say anything it also doesn't say anything about foreign ownership, and I'm sure we'll get to that in a minute. But it doesn't say anything about that. It doesn't say it's going to change the law. It doesn't say it creates some guarantee that corporations are allowed to farm. It doesn't say any of that. It says that farmers and ranchers may engage in farming and ranching. So that's who it's for. It's for the people that are actually doing the farming and actually doing the ranching. It says that they can go out. It's guaranteed in Missouri as a constitutional right that you can engage in farming and ranching practices. That's who can do it.